Hey, this is Sky Photography Bonsai. Today we're going to take a look at the custom modes on the Canon EOS M5. Custom modes are a really useful feature. I actually bought this camera specifically just so that I could have those. Before getting into the EFM system, I was using Nikon full-frame DSLRs, D600, D750. They had custom modes on there. Super useful feature. Custom modes allow you to save settings in the camera. In this case, there is C1 and C2. Some cameras have 3, 4, it really depends. But in this case, with the M5, we've got 2 of them. So you can push all the settings as a group into those 2 different modes. For example, let's go to C1. I have a custom full manual mode with all the settings that I like, all the dials that I can adjust and assign to different features. So in this case, I want the full exposure triangle on each dial that the camera has. So on the top here, we have ISO adjustment. Right here we have the aperture, and then this back dial is shutter speed. Super convenient. So in the default mode on the camera, those are not assigned like that, slightly different. So in this case, I want a custom mode with those dials set up as I would like. And for the C2, usually I'd use some type of action mode, aperture priority mode, something convenient. If you switch between different modes on the camera, it will reset to what you saved. We switch to C1. You can see it's set to 1/100th of a second, f3.5. If we change this, we switch back and forth. You can see that the settings saved for C1. For example, if you wanted to change the shutter speed and aperture, save those, we can do that real quick. Let's do F5 in this case. Go into the menu. We've got tab 2, which is the setup menu, and then page 4, we have the custom shooting mode, C1, C2. We can go inside there, and you can register those changes. Go into register, and then we go into C1, click OK, and that is set up. So if we switch back, let's just change the aperture real quick to show that it does actually save. Cycle back to C1. So it's got F5. If you want to clear out one of the custom modes, you go back into the menu system, same area, and then the clear settings. Let's select C2 in this case. Let me clear that out. Also, there is another setting, it's called auto update set. So if you do change a setting, it will automatically push the changes. Now that's not super useful in my opinion, because one of the main benefits of the custom modes, at least for how I use them, is you can switch back to different modes and it will go back to what you saved. In this case, the auto update set is the opposite of that. Anyways, if we go back, go to C2, you can see that the settings are cleared out. The default is a program mode, and you can see it's automatically focusing continuously. It's just one of the ways that it's set up. So if we want to change that, you could change some of the settings here, but you can see C2 is currently set to a program mode. I don't know if you can change that through there, but basically, if you want to push settings into a custom mode from the start, you want to select one of the standard modes, let's say TV in this case. We're going to do a action photography mode. Let's go into the actual autofocus settings, tab 1, page 3. Set it to servo, which is what we want. We've got 1 point AF, let's do smooth zone AF instead. Continuous, let's put that off. What continuous means in this case of this specific camera is that it continuously tries to focus even if you're not pressing the shutter down halfway. That depends on your preference, but I'm going to have that off. So that's pretty much it for the example at least. We have all those settings we change in here as we would like for TV mode. Go into the second tab, page 4, custom shooting mode again. We want to register settings to C2. That's all set up. Let's just switch to program mode real quick. Look at the settings and then switch to C2. So instead of a program mode, you can see C2 is in a TV mode now. It has the type of autofocus that we want. Very convenient. It's all set up. You can change these if you want a quicker or slower shutter speed. You can save those into the custom mode. So let's change this to something a little faster actually. Let's say we don't want a lot of blur in the photos, really fast shutter speed. Auto ISO is fine. Let's say we were going to actually focus in this top area most of the time. To go into the menu again, and then push those settings into C2 second time. Let's say we're changing the focus, but then we want to cycle back and forth real quick. You can see it actually saves the area you were focusing, which is super convenient, and of course the shutter speed. There's so many ways to use custom modes. It really depends on what you're trying to do. If you're going on a photo outing, which is a mixture of, say, portraits plus action photography, it's a great way to set up your custom modes for that. Now, of course, in this specific camera, there are different ways that it works. It depends on the camera, but I did notice if you go into the actual dedicated video mode, you can't push those settings as a custom mode. Now, that's just a restriction of the specific camera, but it's not a huge deal. If we look at the tab 2, page 4, you can see that the custom mode option is not in there. However, let's try one of these. Let's say scene mode. Let's go into scene mode. You can see that it's not in there as well. So basically, you're just going to be able to get that, at least on the M5, with only the standard modes, P, TV, AV, M. When I switched to the EFM system, I bought 2 of the M50 camera bodies. They're really nice. They work decently well, especially for the video stuff that I do for this channel, which I'm actually recording on one right now. But it doesn't have the custom modes like the M5. M5 is older. The autofocus isn't quite as quick as the M50, but still good enough. And I would trade autofocus to a point for having custom modes. So I bought this used, and it's been really nice. So I use this a lot for the photography. Anyways, you can see and get an idea of how custom modes are super useful. Really depends on what you're trying to do. There are a lot of ways you can adjust the controls, adjust different settings. It's just very convenient, very helpful. Hope you enjoyed this video. Scott Photography Bonsai. If you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing. Helps me out a lot. Likes and shares help out a lot as well. Thanks again.